I don't know why people just do not understand the history of Pearl Harbor because it's not that complicated. It really isn't. So, no, it's not because FDR was trying to manufacture consent for the Americas to get involved in the Second World War, because for all intents and purposes, America was already involved in the Second World War through Lend-Lease, through military advisors in China, through a number of different factors. Yes, we didn't have boots on the ground at the time, but that doesn't really matter because America's industrial capacity was already starting to contribute to the war effort. So why did Japan bomb Pearl Harbor? Well, the obvious answer is the United States oil embargo. But if Japan's going to attack America for an oil embargo, that doesn't make sense. If Japan needs oil, well, let's talk about it. So the reason the United States embargoes Japanese oil and also scrap metal is because the Japanese occupy French Indochina, which is modern day Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, which was under the control of État Français, or Vichy France, which was the puppet government set up for the French after the collapse of the French government and during the Second World War. With this, the Japanese were given an ultimatum essentially by this embargo was in the war in China, or you're going to run out of oil in about 2 years, which was their internal estimate at scrap metal. You can't continue the war at that point, which they started negotiating with China in the hopes of improving negotiations with America and maybe getting some oil traded back. But Hideki Tojo eventually breaks off those negotiations because they are going to continue the war in China up until really 45. With this, they now have a plan, which they call the Southern Strike strategy, which is by the Imperial Japanese Navy, which is, well, if we're going to need resources for the war, Southeast Asia has plenty of resources. British Malaya, Singapore, and the Dutch East Indies. They have all the oil and metal and rubber we need to continue this war. And so to do this, they come up with this strategy. But they understand that if we're going to attack the Dutch East Indies or British Malaya or Singapore, we're probably going to have to take the Philippines too. And if we do that, America's going to get involved. There's just no way that we can do this. America can get involved. So they devise a plan to attack all of these areas simultaneously and Pearl Harbor. This is